Welcome to the Marley Bird YouTube channel, brought to you by Red Heart Yarns. In this video, I will show you how to make the Lacy Stripes knit shawl. This beautiful knit shawl is a triangle shawl worked with increases along the outside, and some really wonderful knit stitches are used within the body of the shawl. This pattern is done using Red Heart's Dreamy Stripes yarn. Dreamy Stripes is a brushed acrylic yarn that is absolutely delightful, and you will enjoy every moment using it, especially the stripes, because all the work is done for you. You don't have to worry about changing colors. It's already done in the yarn. Now, this beautiful pattern by Lisa Gentry can be found for free over on the redheart.com website. I'll be sure to put a link to it right down there in the video description box. And while you're down there, go ahead and smash that like button and be sure to subscribe to the Marley Bird YouTube channel. Once you have your free pattern, go ahead and grab your ball of yarn and your size 10.5 knitting needles, and we will go ahead, jump in, and get started learning how to do the stitches and the increases to make this beautiful shawl. To start off, we have to put 2 stitches on our needle. So we'll take the tail of our yarn, place it in the palm of your hand, take your working yarn, wrap it around your forefinger and middle finger, and when you come back up, cross over. Rotate your hand, go underneath the front loop, grab the back loop, and pull that off. You now have a slip knot that we can place directly onto our needle. This slip knot does count as a stitch, so we need one more stitch after that. I will use the long tail cast on to do that one extra stitch. If you want detailed instructions on how to do the long tail cast on, please check out the standalone video I have right here on the Marley Bird YouTube channel. Once you have the 2 stitches on your needle, go ahead and place your needle in your hand that you knit off of, and then we will go ahead and we will work row 1 of the pattern, which is knit 1 stitch. So I will go into the first stitch and knit. Then I will yarn over, which is simply bringing my yarn forward over top of my right hand needle and back, and then I will knit 1 more stitch. I now have 3 stitches on my needle. I'll place that needle in my left hand and then put the spare needle in my right hand, and I carry on in pattern. Now the next part of the pattern has a pair of brackets. Whenever you come across brackets in a pattern, they are there to indicate that whatever is written within the bracket, you will do a total of times that's written outside of the bracket. So for row 2, we will do a knit 1 stitch, yarn over, and we'll do that twice. So we knit 1, yarn over, and then we'll knit 1, yarn over, and then we finish off the row with a knit 1. So now we have 5 stitches on our needle. Go ahead and place the needle into our other hand, and we carry on with row 3. So row 3 has us knit 2, knit 1, knit 2, yarn over, knit 1, yarn over, knit 2. Okay, so we just increased 2 stitches. The increase that we used is a yarn over, so we will be getting a slight little hole in our knitting, and that is what is creating these extra stitches for us. So if you are new to yarn overs, don't worry, those little holes you're getting are supposed to be there. On the next row, we go ahead and we will knit 5. So I will knit 5 stitches, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I will yarn over and then knit 2. So I just increased 1 stitch. Switch hands. Now I will go ahead, I will knit 2. So knit 1, knit 2, yarn over my right hand needle, and then I will knit to the last 4 stitches. So there's my 4 stitches. Now I'm going to knit 2 together. So I have a stitch right here and a stitch right here. I'm going to take my right hand needle and I will go into the second stitch and then through the first stitch. So both of those at the same time. Then I will yarn over my right hand needle and bring that yarn over through. So I have the knit 2 together and off. Now I yarn over and I knit 1 and I knit 2. So here's the question that you might be asking is, Marley, I did 2 yarn overs, but I only increased 1 stitch. Why is that? That's because we did the knit 2 together. The knit 2 together eliminated one of those increases because the knit 2 together is a decrease. That's why you still have only 1 more stitch than you had the previous row. On the next row, we start off with our knit 2. So we start off 1 and 2. Then we will purl 1, so I'll bring my yarn forward. I will purl 1 stitch, and then I'll bring my yarn back between my needles, back to the back, and I'll do a knit 2 together. So once again, my knit 2 together. Then I will knit to the last 2 stitches, knit 1, knit 2, yarn over, and I have 2 stitches here. 1, 2. You will continue on in pattern for rows 7 through 42 by repeating row 5 and 6. Once you've worked those repeats, you will have a total of 27 stitches. Once you're done with all of those rows, your work looks a little something like this. You'll notice that on one side of the shawl, it's really nice and even though you've done yarn overs on that side. See those nice holes? The reason this side over here is even is because that's also the side where we worked the knit 2 togethers. So even though we did those yarn overs for our increases, we eliminated that extra stitch by working that knit 2 together, okay? So we worked those decreases so that way we do get those yarn overs so that it resembles this side, but we don't get the actual increases. Now over here on this side where we have worked the yarn overs without any decreased stitch, we are actually getting more stitches, and that's how this shawl begins to take shape. So at this point we have garter stitch in between the 2 outside edges. Now we move on to the stockinette stitch where we will work knits on the right side and purls on the wrong side, and we will maintain those increases and decreases as we've been working this entire part of the shawl. So as I pick this up and I'm ready to work on my row 43, I will go ahead and work knit stitches on this row because this is the quote-unquote right side of my shawl. So I will start off here with my knit 2, yarn over, and now I will go ahead and I'll knit to the last 4 stitches. So this is just like what we've been doing all along. What's going to change is on the next row, instead of knitting across, we will be working purls to actually get that stockinette stitch section. So as I'm working across all of these stitches here, I'll get to the last 4 stitches and I will work my knit 2 together, yarn over, knit 2. So my right side is where I've been working my increases, and my wrong side is where I work the increase and the decrease together. So right here I'm going to do my knit 2 together, yarn over, and then knit my 2 stitches. So this is what we've been doing all along, and because of that knit 2 together and the yarn over side by side, that's why this side is not increasing, but we are getting those nice yarn over holes. Now I will turn my work and I'm on row 44, and I will go ahead and work my knit 2, purl 1, and now we're going to do a purl 2 together. So instead of a knit 2 together for our decrease, we will work a purl 2 together. So I keep my yarn forward, I'll put my right hand needle into both of those 2 stitches just like so, yarn over my right hand needle, and then pop that out. So I've knit those 2 stitches together. Now I'll go ahead and I will purl to the last 2 stitches where I will then do a yarn over and then knit the last two. So by working all of these stitches right here as purls, this will give me the stockinette stitch that we're looking for in this section. And it will be framed by the yarn over and the garter stitch on the outside of that yarn over. Really not too difficult so far at this point. These are all stitches that you should know how to do, and if not, hopefully my instructions have helped you out. So I'm to the last two stitches, I yarn over my needle, and I go ahead and knit these last two. You carry on in pattern repeating these 2 rows until you have 31 stitches, ending on a row 49. Once you have finished row 49, you will have a total of 31 stitches on your needle, and you will be done with a right side row. It'll be time to turn your work and start the lace pattern. This lace pattern is going to be the trickiest part of the entire shawl because you are going to incorporate brioche stitches with this lace pattern. So let's go ahead and walk through these stitches together so that way you understand how to do the slip-one yarn over and the bark stitch. That's right, I said bark. That means brioche knit. Okay, let's work these stitches together. Are you ready? You should be looking at the wrong side of your shawl, and we will jump in to row 50. We will go ahead and start off with our knit 2, which is what we've been doing all along, and purling 1. Now we will knit 2 together. We know how to do that one. And we will knit 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. You'll notice at this point in the pattern there's a star before the next set of instructions. That star indicates the point in the pattern that you will go back to in order to work the repeat. Here's our repeat. We will go ahead and purl 1 stitch. Now we're going to do a slip-one yarn over. You bring your yarn forward, go into the next stitch as if to purl, and as you slip that off, bring that yarn over your needle back to the back. Okay, do you see that? So now we're back to the back. Now we will go ahead and knit 4. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. It's important to notice that this slip-one yarn over, here's my yarn over and here's my slip-one. See how they're together? That slip-one yarn over right there, even though they look like 2 stitches, they will be 1 stitch. We are going to treat those as if that is 1 stitch, okay? That's very important to point out. Now we know we're supposed to repeat from star to the last 4 stitches. So we go back to where the star is. So we go back to star and we begin with a purl 1, and then we do a slip-one yarn over. So our slip-one yarn over is bring our yarn forward, go into that next stitch on our left-hand needle as if to purl, and at the same time as we slip that stitch off, bring that yarn over back to the back over top of my right-hand needle. That yarn over and that stitch now count as 1. And I will go ahead and knit 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I'm not to my last 4 stitches yet, so I would do a repeat again. So let's work my repeat. Purl 1, slip 1 yarn over, and then knit 4. I'm to my last 4 stitches and I end with a knit 2, knit 1, knit 2, yarn over, knit 2. Now we turn our work and we begin row 51. Row 51, we are on the right side of our fabric again, and what you're going to notice on this row, we are going to do a couple of special stitches that I will show you how to do. We start off with a knit 2 and a yarn over. And you'll notice that that is in some brackets. And the brackets indicate that we have to do whatever is written inside for their number of times written outside. So we have knit 2, yarn over, knit 2, yarn over, and we did that twice. Now we go ahead and we do an SKP, and this is a decrease. For this decrease, on the next stitch on the left-hand needle, you will go in as if to knit and slip that off. Then you'll knit the next stitch on the left-hand needle, And then you'll take that stitch you slipped and have it jump up and over that stitch you just knit. So we just worked a decrease, and that's an SKP. Now you knit 3, 1, 2, 3, and we come up to this brioche stitch. Remember when I told you this slip one yarn over, we're going to count that as one stitch? We're going to work into that stitch as if it's one stitch, and that's what a brioche knit is. So for a brioche knit, which is a BRK, we just go into both of those stitches and we knit them together. It's that easy. Okay, so that is a brioche knit, and you'll notice this is the start of our repeat as well. So once you do the brioche knit, you yarn over and we do an SKP again. So we slip one as if to knit, knit one, and pass that slip stitch over. And now we go ahead and knit 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so this is our repeat again. You'll notice you're back to that slip one yarn over right there, that slip, the yarn over slip one. So we will brioche knit. You got that? Brioche knit, yarn over, SKP, so you slip as if to knit, knit the next stitch, pass that stitch over, and then knit 3. Pretty easy, right? So now we brioche knit, yarn over, SKP, and then knit 3. We're to our last 4 stitches, so I work a knit 2 together, yarn over, and knit 2. Pretty easy, right? Not too difficult. Just remember, you have to treat those slip one yarn overs as one stitch, and that is what you do when you do your brioche knit. You simply do a knit into those stitches as if it's one, okay? Okay, let's work row 52 together. I am on the wrong side of my fabric again. I will begin with a knit 2. So knit 1, knit 2. Then I purl 1, and then I knit 2 together. So I will knit 2 together. We know how to do this at this point. Once you've done the knit 2 together, you will knit 3. So 1, 2, 3. Purl 1, and then I do a slip one yarn over. So remember, I go in as if to purl, and then I bring my yarn forward, and at the same time I bring my yarn back over top of that right hand needle, and that will count as one stitch. That's where I will work my brioche knit. Once I do my slip one yarn over, I carry on, and this is my repeat. I knit 4, purl 1, and then slip one yarn over. Knit 4, so there's 1, 2, 3, 4, purl 1, and then slip one yarn over. Knit 4, so 1, 2, 3, 4, purl 1, slip one yarn over. I'm down to my last 4 stitches, so I would go ahead and work a knit 2, so knit 1, knit 2, yarn over, and then knit my last 2 stitches. Turn my work. I'm back to the right side of my fabric, and I'm going to work row 53. Row 53 has to start off with a knit 2, so I knit 1, knit 2, yarn over, and this is my repeat. I will knit 3, I will brioche knit. Remember, that's those 2 stitches there, and those 2 stitches count as one, so it's the yarn over and that slip one. They count as one, so I work into both of them. So do my brioche knit, yarn over, SKP. So I slip as if to knit, knit the next one, and then pass that slip stitch over. And I work my repeat. So I knit 3, 1, 2, 3, brioche knit, yarn over, SKP. I will do this to the last 6 stitches. I'm to my last 6 stitches, so I will work a knit 2 and then knit 2 together, yarn over, and knit my last 2. I'm going to set this down so we can take a look at what we have. I'm going to move this to the cord. And what you're going to see here is we have some nice stitches all starting to work up here with the brioche knits, and they're side by side with some yarn overs, which are the lace portion. Let's go ahead and take a look at this section that you're working on right now in the actual shawl so you can see what it works up to. At this point, this is where we are in the pattern. We've worked our garter stitch, we've done our stockinette, and this is the part that we are creating. These long looking knit stitches right here, that's the brioche knit we are creating. And if I spread this out a little bit, you can kind of see that yarn over section right there. That's the lace portion of the brioche lace, just that little subtle section right there. So as you're working this entire lace pattern, what you're doing is you're still working your increases on this edge, and we're still working stitches over here to mirror the look, but you will be working the stitches within here as those brioche knits and that yarn over and the SKP. So at this point, you should know everything you need to know to complete the actual body of this stitch pattern. You know all the stitches so far, and you know how to work the increases. It's simply going to take the patience to make sure that you're working those brioche knits correctly and that you're getting the yarn overs all in the correct place. Once you've worked through the entire body of the shawl, we have to go to the edging. So that's the part I'm going to jump to now because I feel like you should know the stitches at this point that we use in the body of the shawl. By this point, you have worked the body of the shawl and you're ready to start the edging. And the edging is really not that difficult, and it mimics the brioche lace stitch that you just learned. Only this time we have to introduce a brand new stitch. So let me go ahead and show you how to do that stitch, work a couple rows of this edging, and you'll be ready to go. As you take a look down here, we are looking at the actual sample shawl, and this portion right here is the last section of the brioche lace that you would have completed. And when we're talking about the edging, we're talking about this portion right here. See what I mean about it looking very similar to the brioche lace, and then you're working to this edging? The difference here is that when we did the brioche lace, we have yarn overs on one side of the brioche knit that we worked. And when we get to the edging, we no longer have a brioche knit, but we have something called an S2KP. It's a decrease that decreases 2 stitches at once. And then we have a yarn over on either side of that. So we keep garter stitch here, and then we have a yarn over on either side of our decrease, which gives us this really cool edging. So at this point, I've worked my shawl sample up to the point where I can show you how to do the edging. So let's go ahead and do that. On my swatch, I'm working on fewer stitches than what you're working on, but I will be able to work the edging on here just with fewer repeats. Let's go ahead and start with row 1 of the edging pattern. And we begin with a knit 2. So we knit 1 and knit 2. Then we yarn over and knit 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Now we come to the instructions where we have instructions within the bracket, and this is where we're going to begin our repeats. Okay, so you ready? We will start off with a yarn over, so we yarn over our right hand needle, and we will do an S2KP. So we will slip one as if to knit, and then this is the stitch we have been doing our brioche knit. So we're going to slip that entire thing as if to knit, both of those individual stitches, remember, because we treat it as if it's one. And then we will knit 1 stitch. And now we'll take those 2 stitches that we slipped and have them jump up and over that 1 stitch that we knit. Okay, so we decreased 2 stitches. And once we do that, we want to go ahead and do another yarn over and now we'll knit 3. So 1, 2, 3. And this is our repeat. You ready? So here we go again. We yarn over, we do a slip as if to knit, slip as if to knit. That's our brioche knit, so we'll slip all of that. Knit 1, and then grab those 2 stitches you slipped and have them jump up and over that knit 1. Then yarn over and knit 3. 1, 2, 3. Remember, you're repeating what's in the bracket a total of 12 times. Once you've repeated that 12 times, go ahead and finish off by knitting 3, yarn over, and then knit the last 2 stitches. You will have a total of 87 stitches on your needle. When we move on to row 2, it's really easy. No new stitches here that you don't know. So we would start off with our knit 2, purl 1, and then we knit 2 together. Got to get more yarn up here. So we did our knit 2 together, and then I knit 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now I'll purl 3, so 1, 2, 3, and then I'll knit 3. 1, 2, 3. Once you've repeated that 12 times, you finish off with a purl 3, a knit 1, yarn over, knit 2. See, I told you it was easy. This is not that difficult, and we just learned all the stitches you need to finish the edging. The only thing different that we added into this part was the S2KP, and all that means is you're slipping 2 stitches instead of 1, then you knit the next stitch, and then pass those 2 slip stitches over to decrease 2 stitches. You now know everything you need to know to finish the edging of this piece. There are no new stitches. Once you're done with the edging, you will simply bind off, weave in your ends, and your shawl is complete. I just know you're going to love this shawl. It is so pretty and so soft, and when you use the Red Heart Dreamy stripes, you are going to get all sorts of color work, and you don't have to do any sort of extra work with it. Once you finish your shawl, it's going to be a stunner. I am telling you, you have done this really great edging. You've learned how to do brioche lace stitches, some stockinette, some garter stitch, and all the while, you've learned how to work this really great increase to create more stitches to get this really lovely shawl. I know that when you go out and you grab some Dreamy Stripes yarn by Red Heart and make this shawl by Lisa Gentry, you are going to have one stunner of a shawl to wear this fall. I'm Marley Bird, proud spokesperson for Red Heart Yarns, and hopefully you have hit subscribed and smashed that like button, and you'll come back here for more videos just like this one, teaching you how to become a better knitter and crocheter. Thank you so much. Bye. Everything you need to know about knitting or crochet can be found right here on the Marley Bird YouTube channel. Learn with Marley Bird. Visit youtube.com/Marley Bird.